Walk into any room where a newborn is present and watch how quickly normal human intelligence evaporates. Adults, grown men and women who pay bills, hold jobs, and pretend to be rational actors, instantly dissolve into squealing chimps at the sight of a wrinkled, helpless meatball that can't even hold up its own head. Voices rise into cartoon falsetto. Eyes widen like they've been hypnotized. Hands reach out trembling, desperate to touch, to hold, to feel the miracle. It's a frenzy, a ceremony, a kind of social mass hallucination where the rules of reality are suspended and what would otherwise look grotesque is painted over in a haze of saccharine adoration. This isn't joy, this isn't love, this is ritualistic madness. It's a cult. Every coo, every grin, every "oh my God, he's so precious" is a chant in the sacred liturgy of reproduction. The parents are the high priests, beaming with smug satisfaction as they parade their sacrificial offering, and the congregation bows down in awe, competing for the privilege of laying hands on the newest lamb sent to slaughter. And no one, not one person in that circle of drooling acolytes, ever pauses to consider the simple truth. What they are celebrating is not a miracle of life, but a guaranteed tragedy in progress. The worship is so reflexive it borders on psychotic. A random stranger can walk up in a store, notice a baby, and feel entitled to join the ritual. They don't know the parents. They don't know the child. It doesn't matter. The cult of baby worship gives them instant membership. They're allowed to coo, to poke, to gawk, to ask invasive questions, to play their role in affirming the great communal lie that what just happened here, what's being fawned over, is a triumph of humanity instead of its most grotesque, selfish indulgence. If you refuse to join in, you're the freak. If you stand back, cold-eyed and unwilling to participate in the delusion, you're the one painted as defective. But look closer. Look past the smiles and the squeals. Who's really insane here? The person pointing out that this tiny hostage has been conscripted into a lifetime of suffering and death without consent? Or the herd of glassy-eyed zombies applauding the crime like it's a comedy show? What they call normal is nothing but collective lunacy. The insanity of numbers, a mass delusion so entrenched that to resist it makes you appear alien. Yet all the miracle really amounts to is this: a body doomed to age, to fail, to rot, a consciousness doomed to taste grief, betrayal, humiliation, and pain. They are not celebrating a gift. They are celebrating the successful delivery of another victim into the abattoir of existence. And they think you're the one who's crazy? No. The baby is not a miracle. The crowd is not loving. The parents are not noble. It's all ritual, all delusion, all worship at the altar of death wrapped in pink blankets and plastic rattles. The cult of baby worship is nothing but the insanity of people applauding their own cruelty, dressed up as tenderness. Strip away the pink bows, the congratulatory smiles, the nauseating "congrats on your bundle of joy" cards, and what you actually have in front of you is a death sentence with a long waiting period. That's all a baby is. A sentence, a guarantee, a verdict signed in flesh. Every newborn is a contract with suffering already sealed in blood. That soft skin, it will blister, burn, scar. Those tiny bones, they will ache, fracture, eventually crumble into dust. That pure little mind, it will know terror, loneliness, despair, shame, betrayal, and grief so deep it feels like drowning. Those lungs, they will gasp for air one final time before collapsing into silence. And yet here these lunatics are, applauding, clapping, cooing, as if handing down a sentence of death and decay is some kind of holy achievement. They don't see it because they won't. They choose the fantasy. They see innocence. You see inevitability. They see potential. You see the pre-written obituary. They see the joy of life. You see a body that will one day rot in a box, eaten by worms, reduced to bone, reduced to dust. This is not a miracle. This is an execution with a long intermission. Every single miracle of birth ends the same way, with a corpse. That's not poetry. That's arithmetic. 100% of the time, without exception, the end result of every baby being celebrated like a golden calf is a decomposing body and a grieving family. If you described any other process with those odds, people would recoil in horror. But slap a smiley balloon on it and call it life, and suddenly the whole circus applauds. And the tragedy isn't just the inevitable death at the end. It's the endless gauntlet of pain in the middle. Schoolyard bullies, heartbreak, anxiety, illness, depression, accidents, disease, workplace humiliation, bills that can't be paid, nights of screaming loneliness, friends who betray, lovers who leave, parents who age and die, and through it all, the looming shadow of the grave. Every laugh carries the echo of tears. Every embrace carries the shadow of loss. Every first moment is a countdown toward the last. That's what they're cheering when they gather around a newborn. They are not welcoming a miracle. They are congratulating the successful initiation of another victim into the torture chamber of existence. They are clapping for another life chained to the rack, another consciousness condemned to endure pain it never asked for, another innocent march toward death under the banner of joy. And yet, when you stand back, when you refuse to clap, when you won't baptize yourself in the madness, you're accused of being cold, detached, joyless. No. What you are is honest. What they are is delusional. Because it takes true psychosis to watch someone be handed a noose and call it a necklace. It takes collective insanity to look at inevitability, pain, aging, death, and celebrate it as a gift. The baby is not a miracle. It is a sentence. Every coo, every smile, every, "Oh my God, he's precious," is not joy but complicity. Complicity in a crime so normalized, it feels invisible. And that's why this so-called normal world is a madhouse. The inmates don't even realize they're clapping for suffering dressed in lace. Parents love to wear the mask of sainthood. They beam like martyrs, act like heroes, and bask in the glow of social approval as if they've done the most noble thing imaginable. I brought life into the world, they say, puffed with pride, expecting applause. But peel off the mask, and what you're left with isn't nobility. It's executioner's robes, freshly laundered and perfumed to disguise the blood. Because let's tell the ugly truth. Parents are not creators, they're conscriptors. They do not bestow a gift, they impose a sentence. They do not bring life into the world, they drag a stranger into a contract of suffering and death without consent. Every smiling mother, every proud father, is an unwitting executioner signing someone else's death warrant while calling it love. They'll say, "But I love my child." Fine. But love does not erase inevitability. Love does not nullify leukemia, heart attacks, car accidents, cancer, dementia. Love does not erase the nightmares their child will endure, the heartbreaks, the betrayals, the humiliations. Love does not erase the fact that no matter how many birthday candles are blown out, one day that same child will breathe their last and rot. When you strip away the greeting cards and the soft focus lens, the truth is stark. To become a parent is to knowingly create a being destined for torment and annihilation. That's not love. That's cruelty wrapped in a bow. But they refuse to face it. They'd rather bask in the glow of attention. They want the pats on the back, the Instagram likes, the validation of being part of the holy breeder caste. The child isn't really about the child. It's about the parent's ego. Look at us! We've reproduced! We've joined the sacred chain of life! No, you've replicated your DNA like bacteria, slapped a name on it, and sentenced it to the guillotine of existence. That's not sainthood, that's vanity with a body count. The real kicker? These people act as if they've accomplished something rare, difficult, or profound. But any drunk, any addict, any reckless teenager can reproduce. Dogs do it. Rats do it. Cockroaches do it in the millions. Reproduction isn't achievement. It's biology on autopilot. It's the laziest, most automatic act possible. And yet humans glorify it like it's a moon landing. They're not heroes. They're not artists. They're not gods. They're factory workers on an assembly line, churning out corpses in waiting while patting each other on the back for their efficiency. Parents don't want to be seen as executioners, so they hide behind the mask of love. But if you love someone, you don't shove them into a pit you know is filled with knives. If you love someone, you don't create them solely to watch them suffer and die. This is the psychotic inversion at the core of parenthood, the willingness to confuse cruelty with compassion, imposition with generosity, execution with miracle. So when I see parents smiling down at their newborns, I don't see saints. I see killers who don't even know they're killers. I see executioners in disguise, draped in soft blankets and baby powder, hiding behind lullabies while they sentence another innocent life to agony and decay. They are not heroes. They are not noble. They are delusional sadists. And the fact that the world applauds them for it only proves how deep the madness runs. If the parents are the executioners, then the rest of the crowd, the co-workers, the relatives, the random strangers in the store, are the cheering section at the gallows. They don't swing the blade, but they clap for the spectacle. They don't sign the sentence, but they sing hymns while the ink dries. They are the complicit clowns who make this madness possible, and they are every bit as guilty. Look at them in action. A baby appears, and suddenly the office transforms into a circus. People who were perfectly sane 30 seconds ago collapse into babbling idiots. Oh my God, look at him. He's so cute. Can I hold him? Please? He looks just like his daddy. It's grotesque, like watching a mass hypnosis session. Rationality vanishes. The grim reality that this child is now locked into a lifetime of pain, stress, and inevitable death evaporates under a fog of saccharine chatter. They act as if this child is a gift to the world, when in reality the world just claimed another victim. The complicit clowns aren't just blind. They're enforcers of the blindness. They will side-eye anyone who doesn't participate in the cooing. They will judge you for standing back, for refusing to melt at the sight of an infant. They will whisper, "Wow, what's wrong with her? Why doesn't she like babies?" As if the refusal to celebrate suffering is some kind of moral defect. They are not content with their own delusion. They must recruit you into it. Their smiles are a demand, their giggles a threat. Conform or be branded as defective. And let's be clear, their behavior isn't harmless. Every coo, every grin, every word of praise is fuel for the cycle. It reinforces the parent's delusion, strengthens the social expectation, and ensures the next round of breeding will be met with the same applause. The complicit clowns are the echo chamber that convinces people reproduction is noble, beautiful, mandatory. Without their validation, the parents might be forced to confront the horror of what they've done. But with it, the cycle spins on. Another child, another sentence, another corpse in waiting, all signed, sealed, and celebrated. What's worse is the entitlement. A stranger can walk up to a baby in public and treat it like a community toy, as if their mere presence gives them the right to touch, to coo, to insert themselves into this grotesque display. Imagine if the same stranger walked up to a cancer patient in a hospital bed and started cooing, "Oh my God, he's adorable. Look at him hooked up to all those machines." The parents would scream for security. But when it's a baby, suddenly the invasion is normal, even expected. The complicit clowns don't see the suffering that lies ahead because they don't want to. They only see their own role in the ritual, and they play it with glee. They think they're being kind, they think they're being supportive, but what they're really doing is participating in a mass delusion that has consequences measured in broken lives and inevitable deaths. Their clapping isn't kindness, it's complicity. Their cooing isn't warmth, it's endorsement. They are the applause track in humanity's longest-running tragedy, laughing and cheering while the actors are dragged toward the guillotine. And when you stand apart, silent, refusing to join the circus, they call you insane. But who's really lost their mind? The one pointing out that the baby will one day suffer and die, or the pack of glassy-eyed clowns applauding the fact that another victim has been tossed into the meat grinder? They are not innocent bystanders. They are not sweet well-wishers. They are collaborators in a crime against the unborn. They are the grease on the gears of the death machine. Without them, the cult of reproduction would crumble. With them, it thrives, fueled by applause, normalized by smiles, sanctified by a society too cowardly to admit it's cheering for suffering. Here's the twisted joke of it all. The moment you refuse to clap for the slaughter, the second you don't gush over someone else's screaming larva, you're the one branded as broken. You're cold. You're unfeeling. You're the weird one who doesn't like kids. That's the social script, and it is flipped completely upside down. Think about the absurdity. People who knowingly drag a stranger into a world of pain and death are praised as loving, noble, selfless. Strangers who swarm around to endorse that act are seen as warm, kind, normal, and the one person who looks at the scene and says, "Wait a second, isn't this cruel? Isn't this guaranteed suffering?" That person is branded a monster. In the madhouse of breeder culture, sanity looks insane, and insanity passes for virtue. They'll tell you, "Oh, you just don't understand. Life is beautiful," as if your refusal to join the cult is some personal defect. But let's line up the facts. You see that 100% of all humans die. They see a miracle. You see that every baby will suffer heartbreak, illness, aging, decay. They see a gift. You see that procreation is the imposition of unavoidable harm without consent. They see love. You see tragedy. They see triumph. Tell me, who's really insane here? The person acknowledging math and inevitability, or the mob cheering for pain while pretending it's joy? This is the script flipped. The true measure of sanity is inverted by the weight of the herd. If enough people clap for a crime, the criminal becomes a hero. If enough people giggle at a tragedy, the truth teller becomes the outcast. That's why you stand apart in these moments, watching the madness play out. You're not broken. You're not defective. You're simply unwilling to worship death disguised as life. And because of that, you appear alien to the hive. The irony is brutal. They think you're the one without empathy, when in reality, you're the only one in the room empathizing with the victim. They gush over the baby's cuteness. You're the only one who stops and says, "This poor child is doomed to suffer." That's empathy. That's clarity. But because it doesn't align with their fantasy, they paint it as cruelty. So the script stays flipped. Executioners parade as saints. Cheerleaders parade as kind souls. And the truth tellers get branded as freaks. That's how the cult survives, by redefining delusion as virtue and honesty as madness. But you know the truth. You see the blood under the lace. You see the coffin under the crib. You see the inevitability they can't bear to face. And you refuse to play along. That isn't coldness. That isn't madness. That's the only sanity left in a world drunk on delusion. Start with the obvious: money. Every child born is a lifelong consumer of resources: housing, healthcare, education, food, energy. Who pays for that? Not just the parents. Society does. Every taxpayer foots the bill for schools, hospitals, infrastructure, and the endless stream of subsidies required to keep their bundle of joy alive. And when that child grows up and becomes another cog in the workforce, they'll perpetuate the same cycle, draining resources, competing for dwindling jobs, demanding the next generation of schools, hospitals, roads. One miracle multiplies into a cascade of costs. But money is the least of it. The true cost is ecological. Every baby is another furnace burning through the planet's fuel, another mouth demanding food, another body producing waste. Babies grow into adults who consume, pollute, and destroy. Every miracle comes with a carbon footprint stamped in blood. Forests fall, rivers dry, oceans choke, species vanish, all because breeders can't keep their legs closed and society applauds them for it. Call it what it is: environmental vandalism dressed up as family values. And then there's the social cost. More people means more poverty, more crime, more exploitation. Every baby born into a struggling family is another person destined to suffer under the weight of scarcity and inequality. Every miracle in the wrong place at the wrong time is another future criminal, another addict, another broken life desperate to survive in a world already too crowded to care. And yet the clowns clap anyway, too drunk on sentimentality to see the misery they're applauding into existence. The parents won't admit it. They'll insist their child will be different. My baby will change the world! Sure. And the 7 billion others didn't? Statistically, their kid will do exactly what everyone else does: consume, pollute, reproduce, and die. That's the grand legacy of their miracle. Not greatness, not meaning. Just another entry in humanity's never-ending balance sheet of pain. And let's not forget the personal cost, the suffering of the child itself. It doesn't matter how rich, how loved, how wanted they are, that baby will still grow up to know grief, heartbreak, failure, illness, and death. There is no escaping it. All the toys, vacations, and hugs in the world can't erase the inevitability of decay. Every miracle carries a built-in tragedy. So the cost of their miracle is staggering. Economic strain, environmental collapse, social decay, and at the heart of it all, the endless suffering of the child who never needed to exist in the first place. And yet they'll keep saying it's worth it. Worth the expense, worth the chaos, worth the agony, because the delusion must be maintained at all costs. Better to bankrupt the planet, better to drown the world in corpses than to admit the simple truth. Their miracle was nothing but a selfish act of vanity with consequences no one wanted to pay. Every parent is a worker on the assembly line, stamping out a new unit of suffering. They don't call it that, of course. They call it family. They call it legacy. They call it the miracle of life. But if you strip away the PR slogans, the process is brutally mechanical. Sperm, egg, zygote, embryo, fetus, baby, child, adult, corpse. That's the production cycle. That's the machine. And it runs on autopilot, powered by breeder worship and maintained by complicit clowns who clap every time a new unit rolls off the line. Think about the scale. Billions of people born, billions of people suffering, billions of people dying. The machine never stops. Every second, new lives are shoved in at the front end, while bodies drop out the back, piled in graves, cremated, decomposing. It's an endless churn, an abattoir with baby pink paint slapped on the walls to disguise the blood. And the parents? They're the foremen, proudly guiding the process. The co-workers? They're the cheerleaders on the factory floor. And the child? The child is just another product, stamped with a guarantee of suffering and expiration. This is what they're celebrating when they parade babies around the office. They're not celebrating life. They're celebrating the efficiency of the machine. They're admiring the gears as they grind another victim into dust. They don't see the screams. They don't hear the crunch of bone. They don't smell the rot at the far end of the conveyor belt. They only see the beginning, the shiny new product, the fresh paint on the next doomed body. And the horror isn't that the machine exists. Biology guarantees it. The horror is that humans worship it. They don't resist. They don't question. They polish it, decorate it, build shrines to it. They turn the factory into a temple and bow before its output. They clap as it spits out another doomed body, proud to have played their part in keeping the gears turning. They are not victims of the machine. They are its operators, its defenders, its priests. Look around. Cemeteries are the storage yards of the machine. Hospitals are its repair shops. Schools are the training centers for the next generation of workers. Everything is designed to keep the conveyor belt moving smoothly. And all of it is powered by the breeder's act of feeding raw material, their own children, into the gears. So when you hear coworkers squealing over a baby, remember what it really is. Not a miracle, not a gift, not a legacy. It's a cog, freshly minted, about to be dragged along the conveyor belt of existence until it drops out the other end as waste. That's the machine. That's the truth. Humanity is a factory of suffering, and breeders are its loyal laborers, churning out corpses while pretending they're producing miracles. And the applause? That's just the sound of the assembly line running smoothly. They call you strange for not joining the circus, for not squealing over someone else's screaming fleshball. They call you broken for refusing to gush about miracles. But let's put the spotlight back where it belongs. Who's really the freak here? The one who looks at inevitability and refuses to clap? Or the herd of adults babbling in baby voices at a half-conscious organism in diapers? Normality is the most successful illusion humanity ever sold itself. But peel back the mask of normal, and what do you see? Adults hypnotized by infants. Adults who act like the sight of a baby is sacred. like it rewires their brains into mush. Adults who treat the creation of guaranteed death as if it were the highest virtue imaginable. That isn't sanity. That isn't normalcy. That's fetish. That's pathology. That's collective psychosis so deep they can't even recognize how absurd they look. Think about it. In any other context, a group of adults crowding around something helpless, poking it, gawking at it, demanding to touch it, would look like a horror show. If you saw the same behavior around a dying patient or an injured animal, you'd recoil. But because it's a baby, because it's fresh meat newly conscripted into the slaughterhouse of existence, suddenly the gawking is beautiful. That's not beauty, that's grotesque. And the parents? They strut like celebrities, milking the attention, bathing in validation, proud to be worshipped for doing what rats and cockroaches do without applause. They believe this spectacle makes them virtuous, when in reality it makes them delusional sadists, flaunting the body of their newest victim. The crowd feeds the ego feeds the cycle, and the cycle feeds the factory. It's not love, it's not family. It's freak show exhibitionism with a blood-soaked core. They call you a freak because you don't play along, but what you are is sober in a room full of drunks. You're the one pointing out that the emperor is naked while everyone else is clapping for his new clothes. They worship babies like idols, ignoring that each one is a ticking bomb of suffering and death. They call that normal, they call that sane, but nothing could be further from the truth. The real freaks are the ones cooing and clapping, blind to the carnage their worship sustains. The real freaks are the ones who can look at guaranteed pain and call it a gift. The real freaks are the ones who cheer for the conveyor belt of death, thinking their applause makes it holy. So let's flip the script permanently. It isn't freakish to reject the cult of breeding. It isn't freakish to see the coffin under the crib. The true freaks are the breeders and their complicit clowns, the ones who turn tragedy into a festival and death into a fetish. They're not normal. They're not sane. They are grotesque zealots in the cult of life worship. And the fact that they outnumber you doesn't make them right. It just makes the asylum bigger. The cult of breeding doesn't just run on delusion. It runs on suppression. Because if the truth ever broke through, if people ever allowed themselves to stare at the raw horror of what reproduction actually is, the whole illusion would shatter overnight. That's why society doesn't just ignore clarity. It wars against it. It brands truth as cruelty. It paints honesty as insanity. It punishes anyone who dares to strip the ribbons off the coffin. Say out loud, every baby born is guaranteed to suffer and die. And watch how fast the smiles curdle. You've spoken nothing but fact, but they'll treat it as if you spat venom. You'll be called bitter, depressed, dangerous, even evil. Not because you lied, but because you told the truth. And in a cult built on fantasy, truth is the greatest sin. Breeders have to protect their ego at all costs. They cannot admit they've created a hostage for death, so they lash out at anyone who threatens their narrative. They'll call you heartless. They'll call you broken. They'll weaponize sentimentality against you. How could you say that about a baby? As if reality is subject to their comfort. As if the inevitability of suffering disappears just because they don't like hearing it spoken aloud. And the complicit clowns join in, piling on the condemnation. They'll tell you to smile, to be happy for the parents, to let people enjoy things. What they really mean is play along with the delusion or be cast out. Their demand isn't kindness, it's conformity. Their smiles are weapons, sharpened to cut down anyone who refuses to kneel at the altar of life worship. This is how the cult survives, by punishing dissent, by pathologizing honesty, by gaslighting anyone who dares to notice the blood under the lace. They rewrite the script so thoroughly that the ones who drag innocence into inevitable suffering are heroes, while the ones who protest are villains. The executioners get applause, the truth-tellers get exiled. That's the inversion at the heart of breeder culture. The demand that cruelty be worshipped and clarity be silenced. And it works. Most people stay quiet. They swallow their revulsion. They force a smile. They join the cooing choir even if their stomach turns. Why? Because they know the price of dissent. They know that refusing to clap makes you a pariah. They know that truth is radioactive in a society that runs on lies. So they bite their tongues, they nod, they smile, and they keep the machine humming. But you don't. You stand apart. You refuse to participate in the war on clarity. You refuse to let their delusion colonize your mind. That's why they see you as dangerous. That's why they try to brand you as insane. Because in a world built on lies, truth is always the enemy. Here's the truth no one wants to face. Every baby is a corpse in waiting. That's not cynicism. That's not bitterness. That's arithmetic. 100% of them will die. And along the way, 100% will suffer. Some lightly, some brutally, but all inevitably. That is the bedrock reality of existence. And yet, what does society do when a new hostage is dragged into the slaughterhouse? It claps, it smiles, it throws a party. It calls the shackling of another innocent to the rack of existence a miracle. This is not love. This is not joy. This is not sanity. This is sadism wrapped in lullabies. This is cruelty dressed in pastel blankets. This is mass psychosis, normalized by tradition, sanctified by religion, perpetuated by culture, and enforced by social conformity. It is a death cult pretending to be a life cult, cheering as it hands out sentences of agony and annihilation. The parents aren't saints. They're executioners who don't even recognize the blade in their hands. The co-workers, the strangers, the normies who swarm to coo and clap, they're not kind. They're collaborators, enablers, grease for the gears of the machine. And the machine itself? Humanity. A factory of corpses. A conveyor belt that takes innocence in at one end and spits out decay at the other, while the crowd cheers every fresh body tossed into the gears. And you? You're the one who refuses to clap. You're the one who won't bow at the altar of delusion. They call you cold, but in truth, you're the only one who actually gives a damn about the victim. They call you insane, but in truth, you're the only one still tethered to reality. They call you broken, but the only thing broken is their ability to look suffering in the face without slapping a bow on it and calling it meaning. You are not the freak. They are. You are not the one out of step. They are. You are not the monster in the room. They are. Smiling as they march another innocent into the furnace, clapping as the factory of death keeps churning, cooing as the coffin is ordered in advance. The only honest view is this: every birth is an act of violence. Every baby is a tragedy disguised as a miracle. Every cheer is applause for cruelty. And the only sane response is not to clap, not to smile, not to join the circus, but to stare into the madness and say out loud what everyone else is too cowardly to admit. This is not a gift. This is not a miracle. This is murder in slow motion.